This is going to be a shorter one, but that's because it's Friday. Also known as Friday. I was driving today and yesterday, which is a little bit of a rarity for me these days, but I was doing it all the same. And I've decided that speed limit, Christ, is bullshit. And here's why it's bullshit. Because in Canada, the speed limit is sort of like a agreed upon, very ephemeral concept where the number on the sign says 100 kilometers per hour, but everybody goes like 110 to 120, and then whether or not you're doing something illegal is pretty much entirely dependent on the vibes of everybody around you and the police officer who may or may not decide to pull you over. And I think that's just a pretty dumb way to handle things, especially when we're dealing with something with, you know, some degree of consequence if you fuck it up, because you are, you know, ripping around 2 tons of metal. So my proposed solution, which like this would be so much smarter, and I don't know why it doesn't fucking work like this already, but all you have to do is make the speed limit be an actual limit. So whatever the number on the sign is, just make the number on the sign 125, set up photo radars, and then if you are going 126, you're cooked. Like, I'm sorry, it's the letter of the law. You went 126, the limit was 125, ticket. No argument, no court cases, no needing a police officer to be like sitting there. It's just you went over the speed limit, and then there's no considerations of any other kind, right? And you just, in doing this, I'm not like even super ardent on this, but I would say raise the speed limit, because you can probably go faster than 60 on like a main thoroughfare in most Canadian cities, even though that's what the speed limit is. Raise the speed limit, maybe. Again, not super concerned on that. If you want to keep them the same, that's fine. That's allowed. Like, I don't think we drastically need every speed limit to be raised by 10 to 20 kilometers an hour, even if it would be more convenient. But just make it a hardline thing and make it so everybody knows it. Just massively publicized announcement as of January 1st. This is going into effect. Every speed limit is an actual limit. Stay below it, you're good. You go above it, you get a ticket. And it would do 2 things. It would make it so there's no guesswork involved in trying to drive the goddamn car and whether or not you're doing something illegal. And it would make it on the side of the government. And I understand they like getting money from speeding tickets. I don't think they would get less money from speeding tickets like this, because people are going to mess up going 126 and 125. People are going to screw that up. And if you just set up like photo radar, like just send a ticket to whatever the license plate is when it's going over the speed limit, you're going to print cash. You don't have to have cops on the clock all the goddamn time, just sitting in like strange alcoves trying to catch people, you know, ripping around at you know, instead of 25 over, oh, they were going 27 over, and because there was like a bend over here, and where if they did that on the straightaway earlier, I probably would have let them slide. Instead of all that bullshit, they can just stay in the parking lot of Tim Hortons, where they can spend their time much more effectively. And instead, you just have all of the work done by machines, which is where we're going anyways. But does this not make sense? Like, am I crazy? Make it an actual limit. It cleans up so much of the judicial process where you have arguments and contesting of traffic violations, and it gets knocked down to a parking ticket or like your demerit points or whatever. Like, it just takes so much unnecessary like back and forth fodder work out of the equation, and instead just makes it a very simple and streamlined process. And I think you'd make more money off of it. I think you'd make more money. I think you'd have less police time taken up by engaging strictly in traffic violations, which is an absolute waste of the time of people who are supposed to be enforcing public safety. And everybody's happier. Everybody being me. And that's the only person that matters in this scenario. So that's what I'm talking about today. The speed limit, bullshit, abolish it. Or no, don't abolish it. That's actually the opposite of what I want. But make it a little bit higher, and then just drill right there. Just there's no nuance anymore. And it would take people some time to get used to, but it would be a better system overall. And it's not like most better systems overall that I come up with in my head, where you'd have to like tear society down to its bare foundations and build it back up in order to actually implement it effectively. This is like a 2-second fix. This is literally just like telling people to act differently, and then maybe installing some like speed cameras that you were going to install anyways. But now, instead of some very nebulous coding where you're like, well, I can't just say if they're going over this speed, give them a ticket, and that speed can't be the speed limit, because then we'd ticket literally every single person on the road. Now it can be very simple. So that's what I'm advocating for here, is simplicity. Simplicity in the governance of traffic control. Because, like, what are we doing, man? So yeah, the drive was pretty good. Yeah. Alright, that's it. That's it for today. And that's it for the weekend. But I will be back on Monday. And I keep forgetting to mention this, but if anybody watches this and they want me to talk about something, tell me to talk about it, and I will. Probably. Unless it's like eugenics or something, then maybe not. Alright, that's it.